What's up, Battlefront fans? I'm your host, Caleb, and today we had on Tim Goins. On August 2nd, 2025, Tim was involved in a devastating motorcycle accident that left him in a coma for 22 days. During that time, Tim experienced what he describes as some of the horrors of hell. He makes it very clear that he is not claiming he actually went to hell, but rather he believes was a place of waiting, a waiting room for hell. While there, Tim describes encountering a very tall man who repeatedly entered his room and beat him. Just when all hope seemed lost, a Savior appeared. It's a powerful testimony of darkness, hope, and the saving power of Jesus Christ that you won't want to miss. But before we jump into the interview, don't forget to follow the Battlefront 511 podcast on all social media platforms. And thank you to everyone who supported us with the cup of coffee donations. We're now up to 275 of our $500 goal. And once we get to our $500 goal, that money will be given to somebody in our community. Now, let's get to the interview, and we hope you enjoy.
Okay, so let's start, Tim, with can you just give us a background leading up to the accident? Say, can you tell us what was your walk like? Give us kind of a glimpse of your life before the accident.
Okay. So, born and raised in church. I've around it my whole life, and then I joined the Army, and that was basically the start of not going to church. Lived wildly like you would expect a young soldier that's, trained a certain way, taught a certain way, that whole, I don't want to say brainwash, but it's kind of like that, I guess. Then went and did all the Iraq stuff, and then came home and kind of just stayed wild for a long time. And it wasn't until I started the divorce and all the problems that I started kind of slowing down and calming down.
So let me ask you though, growing up, then you said you're in church. So you knew Jesus, you had a close relationship, a close grasp on things, or it was one of those things where you just, you were taught it, you knew it, but then, you went and lived your life.
Right. I was just around it all the time. And I pray, and I never really stopped talking to God. I was just doing what I wanted regardless,
Yes.
which is, well, that says a lot right there, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so then you served. How long did you serve in the military?
Just
Thank
the
you
minimum.
for your service, by the way.
I have opinions about that nowadays. But
that might be another podcast.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll stick with this topic.
Yeah, it was fun. I had a good time. It was just, there was a lot of scary, intense moments and things that kind of messed with my head. Still do, honestly.
Wow. Yeah. And how long? I'm sorry, I missed it. How long did you say you served?
Just 3.5 years. I did the minimum.
3.5 years. Okay.
Yeah, Mom called me when it was time to re-enlist and was like, just come home. And I was like, all right, Ma, I'll come home.
Yeah.
Deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you come home and you get married?
Yeah. I started dating a lady right away, and we got married, I don't know, less than a year. And then, had kids and all that. And just, I wasn't ready for that kind of thing. And I was still wild and trying to figure out who I'm going to be after the Army, what life is. So I wasn't really good at that whole thing. And I was pretty mean for a long time.
Okay.
So
I gotcha. All right. Well, then walk us then to, so, you're not maybe living the way you think you should be living. Are you still you're saying I was kind of mean or whatever? I'm assuming at this point, you're not really, I don't know what the word is. You're not really, in relationship, with God. You may pray, you may know that still, but is there evidence of that in your life?
Well, I mean, I witnessed and I prayed for people and I talked to people about God, but I'd still, regardless of all that, I still just kind of lived the way I wanted to live. Whatever intrusive instinct thoughts that I had, I just kind of ran with it. And then, whatever excuses I could come up with to justify it was just the way I was.
I'm not trying to get I'm not trying to get personal, but more for just our listeners' sake. And to be honest with you, I'm just intrigued. Can you give us maybe some example of what those thoughts were? Just again, because I think it's good for us to sometimes hear that, because somebody might be having those same things but thinking that they're okay, and maybe this could help them a little bit.
Oh man, I was angry and violent with anybody for any reason. I was always willing to jump into it with somebody. Self-harm was a big thing for me. I was cutting myself up and burning myself with cigarettes. And when I was active in the Army, they pulled my wisdom teeth, and the military's got this thing about just give them meds, right? So I got 70 Percocets for 7 days. So I was hooked on that for a while. So, all the bad things that you would not want to be caught doing when Jesus comes back.
Wow. Okay. So all these things that you're dealing with, you're battling. It sounds like there's a lot of like shame, guilt,
Yeah,
frustration, and anger.
absolutely. Trauma and anger and all the things. And, it stems from a childhood and then just never stop.
Yeah.
Which really, I mean, that's something we've talked about a lot here. I mean, our last guest we just had on talking about church hurt. And I think with the older generation, it is just suck it up and deal with it. But I don't think people realize that trauma, if you don't, not only does it it can physically change who you are, but mentally, I mean, your spirit is trying to deal with, I don't know, your flesh is taking control, I think, of your soul at that point, because it's in such a, I'm
Yeah, and
struggling
you
here.
let it.
Well, and
You
yeah,
let it
and it
because it's
sounds
familiar.
it's familiar, and it sounds like that's what he was doing. He's walking by the flesh, every feeling and every emotion, and he's trying to find that satisfaction within himself that he can't find, which we all know we can't find without Jesus. He's that
Right.
piece that we're all looking for anyway. But let's go back to, yeah, that's what I want.
I want people to know, if you feel that way, a lot of people are going through that exact same feeling.
Yes.
It's just, the problem is we're not talking about it. We want to keep it hidden for some reason. And even the Bible says to share that with people, share your burdens with people, because I think it's a way of letting it out. And if you keep it trapped in, it's hurting you. And in this instance right here, I mean, here you are, you're preaching or you're ministering to people. You said you're talking about Jesus, but you got burn marks all over you. So there's an inner, you're talking and doing the right things, but the inside is not where it should be.
Right.
So,
well, and
Yeah.
I want to say Paul said that there's nothing that's uncommon to man. So nothing you're facing is not uncommon. Everybody's dealing with it in some way or another.
Yeah, that's right. So, okay, so walk us through and explain then what happened. Whatever you want to tell us the details, but go ahead and get on into it.
All right. So August 2nd, 2025, I went to work, normal day, teaching new guys how to do their jobs, and then came back with the lady I was dating at the time. And we were going to go for a motorcycle ride. We were going to go to Archibald, Ohio, because she knew of this, a tunnel of trees or whatever. And so we were heading that way. And I don't remember anything from, I don't know, probably 10 minutes after I left my house. But what I was told is we got down on Stearns Road going west, and we just crossed US 23. And a guy pulled out in front of us, a black Dodge Ram, and I crammed the brakes on my bike and we slid sideways. And with my clutch hand, I grabbed the person that was with me and I hit the truck. And she bounced off of me and I got drug under the truck. So damage done was my foot ended up in my armpit. So I snapped all 3 ligaments on the inside of my knee. 2 of them are still broken. The muscles from my belly button to my spine were all disconnected on the low end. I ripped both the arteries in my stomach. I crushed my gallbladder and appendix. I collapsed a lung. I tore my intestines and my colon. I broke my face in a helmet. Yeah.
Wow.
That was the immediate damage. And then while I was in the hospital in my coma, I got necrotizing fasciitis twice, which is like this flesh-eating thing. It starts in the nervous system. So I have serious nerve damage all over the place. So they tried to fix it and couldn't, so they cut some of me away on my side to prevent it from getting worse, and it got worse anyways. So a little graphic, but they basically cut everything from my ribs on my right side to my hip, completely down to the insides. There was no muscle. They cut it all away.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I don't remember any of that. But the spiritual side of it is I woke up in a hospital bed. And it looked like a hospital that had just been abandoned for years. And I couldn't move. I couldn't like get up or do more than move my head around. And the first thing my spirit told me was, you are in trouble. That's the only thing I knew. And I didn't know anything outside that room. Right.
So like your spirit, you're saying your spirit told you. So you're saying like did you just know it instinctively? Like
Yeah.
was it or
Yes.
and like
Right.
what were the so you're in a hospital room that you say is abandoned, and what are you feeling? What is your emotions?
At first, I was just like, where am I? You know what I mean? Because the first thing
Yeah.
I actually noticed was that the colors were wrong. All the colors were there. I could see red, green, black. Actually, the first thing I looked at was a whiteboard, like a nurse's whiteboard in a hospital room across from me. And it had red and green and black writing on it. And I knew it was red and green, but there was the only way I can describe it is like a lack of life in the color, right? There was no vibrance. So when you put black marker on a whiteboard, there's a vibrance to that color. Here, there was no vibrance at all. It was all dead. And the first thing I felt was fear. I knew I was in trouble. I just right off bat, like, this is not where you're supposed to be. And it was fear. And I was thirsty, and it wasn't super hot, but it was like a damp, tepid kind of feeling in the room. It was not a comfortable place to be. My hospital room door was open, and I kept looking out there because there was light out there, but it was kind of dark in general. But a guy walked by, and he was all black, dripping. There was like tar dripping off of him. And I knew that was sin. What I was seeing was like sin on him. And he was probably 9-10 feet tall. He had to like bend over at the waist to look into the room at me. And he did. He a couple times. I don't know how long it took, but he walked by probably 3 or 4 times, and I saw him, and he would look at me. And when he looked at me, I knew what he was thinking. I knew what he wanted to do to me, which was pretty brutal. Like his thoughts,
So
the things,
okay,
his
can I stop you
intent.
there? Can you tell me like what were his thoughts then? Do you remember like what were his thoughts towards you?
Yeah, that was yeah. So I don't know how. Okay. All the
100%,
angry
buddy.
thoughts. I mean, the angriest you've ever been. That was that guy. I thought I knew what anger was because I was always angry. But that guy's anger, like, just shook the room. He was a terrifying individual. And you could feel his anger, right? And he hated me in a way that, like, you can't describe. He was so hateful. Like, just my existence, me being there, was just completely disgusting to him. His eyes were bright gold, like really bright, shiny gold. And today, I think that was a fallen angel. Because he was perfect. Like, physically, he was perfect with bright gold eyes, but he was just covered in tar and dripping. But eventually, he came in a room because I started kicking my footboard because I was thirsty. I said, "Hey, I'm thirsty. Let me get some drinks." And then he comes in the room real slow, intentional, with this stupid grin on his face. And he grabbed me by my face with his whole, like, you know how like the basketball players grab a whole basketball in one
Yeah.
hand? He grabbed me by my face like that. And he told me in my ear, he said, "Shut the F up. You deserve this." And then he slammed my head into the bed so hard that, like, I felt bones cracking in my body, in my face.
Was there pain? Did you feel physical pain?
Oh, yeah. And the pain that I felt never stopped. So when he did that and I felt the bones in my face crack, I felt that fresh pain all the way up until I woke up. And then he hit me open hand. He hit me so hard, I felt it in my toes. I mean, I've never been hit like that in my life. Hit me so hard that, like, it was devastating. And I felt that sharp pain the entire time.
Okay, I got to ask you, at any point, are you registering yet what's happening? Is there a knowing of where you are or what's happening?
I was confused about the idea. Like, I knew I was in trouble and I knew I was in the place you don't want to go, but it was confusing because it wasn't what I was told it would be. Right? I was
Yes,
told
that's what I'm
it was hot and it was fire, but I was not in hell proper, right? I call it the waiting room. I was in holding, right? Because my body hadn't died. I was in holding. And I knew that if my body had died, the walls to that room would have fell over. And then I would have been in what hell really was. I was in like a holding pattern, I think. And I was told to call it the waiting room. So I call it the waiting room. And his thoughts of me and his intent towards me was clear, like reading a book. right? And he was limited, and he was angry with God that he was limited on what he was allowed to do with me. And because he was angry about being limited, he was just hitting me harder.
Why was he limited? Was it because your body wasn't dead? Is that what?
I 100% believe it was just God's mercy. Because
Still.
yes, because
Okay.
like all he was allowed to do was insult me and say all the horrible things that I used to say about myself and hit me. That's what he was allowed to do. More than that was forbidden. I don't know how I know that. I just know that. Like, 'cause
That's what I
like
was going to ask you. It was just a knowing that you
it
know
was
those
intrinsic.
things.
And he sized me up. He knew everything about me, and I knew everything about him. I didn't know his name, but I knew like his intent, and he wanted to rape me, and like the things he wanted to do were pretty, like, I wouldn't put that in a scary movie. And it was almost like I heard his thoughts. Like he was telling me in my head what he wanted to do, but was not allowed to do. And he did not dare cross that line, just to be clear. He was afraid of whatever rule set was there for him. So he did a lot of that. He would just come in and slap me around a lot and say all the horrible things. And it's crazy because it's almost like he just repeated all the negative things that I said about myself. He just said it word for word what I used to say.
Can you tell us what are some of those things? Can you say what are some of those things, like an example?
Yeah, I used to tell myself I'm a worthless man. I'm just a trash. I have no value. There's nothing good about me. And he literally just said it exactly the way I said it, constantly. And he would leave and go away and do whatever it was outside that room. And then I would get thirsty and want something, or, tired of not moving, or whatever my ailment was. And he would come in and slap me around and tell me to shut up.
Now, do you think part of that is because like you said, you've seen sin on him, right? And the sin that you dealt with
off of him.
So do you think the sin that you dealt with the most was the self-destruction? And that is what was torturing you, because that is the only thing it was allowed to do to you was like the self-harm and like breaking you down. Yeah, you're tearing yourself down. And that was like, well, you allowed this to yourself, so I can do it to you. It was like that's the power that you were given it, but it couldn't cross to the next line of what it wanted to do to you because you hadn't given it the power. And obviously it can't cross the line if God's power is there as well.
I knew why I was there. I was there for that and for sexual sin, which is why all the things he wanted to do were direct relation to the stuff that I had done here, right? So he wanted to be violent. He wanted to cut me down emotionally, and he wanted to do the sexually violent things. So that's what I dealt with. And it was basically just that all the time. He was always hitting me, saying insulting things. It was very clear his intent. So it was like, that was scary too on its own, is just knowing what he wanted to do. And I never understood why he wasn't allowed to do it, other than he would not cross that line. And then one day, I guess day, here he is walking towards me, and I see him. And at some point,
you feel like this is you feel like this is a long period of time.
It felt like it felt like years. It felt like a really, really long time. When I woke up, I was shocked to know that I was only in a coma for like 22 days. I was shocked. I thought it had been years or something. So I was there for what felt like a long, long time. And at some point, my bed had shifted, which I don't remember that happening, but he was walking towards the foot of my bed. And his intent was even worse at that time. Like, I got the distinct impression he was gonna do something worse than I had experienced before. And he was angry and shaking and fistball. And I remember being very, very freaking afraid. And then the room changed. It was like going from a dark room to a bright room, like that, right? The light didn't change, but the atmosphere changed. And dude, man, the fallen angel just stopped dead like a statue. He just stopped walking towards me. And I felt the presence behind me. I knew it was Jesus. I don't know how I know it was, but I knew. That's Jesus. And I could turn my head, but physically I could not turn and look at him. I was not allowed to see him or look at him. Like, My body wouldn't even respond to do that. I couldn't. And he said,
Did
Jesus's words, he
I'm
said,
s
go ahead.
did before he showed up, before this atmosphere changed, in that whole time that you felt this fear and torture, did you ever think to cry out the name Jesus?
I couldn't. I couldn't say his word. I couldn't say the name. I couldn't say God. I couldn't say, please help me. There was no such thing as calling out to God. I wanted to, but I didn't have the words, and it wasn't even available to me. And I think that's because he would have come and got me.
Okay.
But I don't know. I don't
Okay.
know. That's like one of those little mysterious things that I don't quite get.
Okay.
So then Jesus
Yeah.
walks in,
So he shows up.
and
Okay.
yeah, he shows up. And the only time I saw that thing look afraid was when Jesus showed up, and he looked like he was going to run, and he was not allowed to run. He had to stand there and take it, which was cool. And he looked angry. And then Jesus said, "This one is mine." And he
Ugh.
pointed at me. And when he said it, there was an angry there too. He was furious with that guy. And he said, "This one is mine." And when he said it, the room, the building, the universe shook around his words, like violently, because he was not happy. Jesus was not okay with that. And then just like that, he leans over, and I felt him. He got close enough I could feel his breath. And he said, "Timmy, it is time to wake up now." And then the next thing I remember is going backwards over my hospital room's neighbor, right? I went backwards over that room, and I saw that the young man in that room was dying, and his dad was wearing traditional Japanese clothing, burning incense and praying for his son. And I thought, wow, that's weird. And then I woke up and my eyes were open, and I was looking at my dad. And he was like, "Do you know where you're at? Do you know where you are? Do you know what happened?" And I was like, "No." He goes, "Do you know who I am?" And I laughed and I said, "No, are you a shaman?" Because he looked like a Native American guy to me for some reason. And right. So later on, I was talking to him about it, and he was like, "That's crazy because the guy in the next room over was a young Japanese dude that was dying, and his dad was in there praying for him every day." And there's no way I would have known that at all because I had never left that room. And
Wow.
then I was in and out of consciousness, but there was like a series of dreams after that. They were not physically
Wait,
or
I
what?
have to stop you for 1 second because there's a piece of this I have to ask. When you said Jesus whispered in your ear, it's time to go back or
But he
it's
says
time to
time to
wake
wake
up.
up.
Well, I have to know, like, what was that feeling? What was like, did you feel anything around Jesus? Was it
No,
different? Was
I woke up immediately. I was just awake.
was there any emotion though when he was there, when he was in
Um,
your presence?
he was angry. Jesus was not happy.
Okay, not happy with, did you feel that against yourself or against
No,
what
no,
or what the demons?
he was angry against the fallen angel. To me, when he talked to me, he talked like think about when you were really, if you have a really awesome dad, right? When you were really young and your dad would be like, "Hey, it's time to wake up to go to school," right? It was that gentle, that soft, that caring, right? And
Did
when
you
he
feel the love or the presence of Christ though, in even amongst the anger towards,
I
the demon
knew
or whatever?
I knew that I wasn't in danger with Jesus, right? I knew that he wasn't there to hurt me. And I'm sweaty and shaky. No, I knew he wasn't there to hurt me. And
Okay.
um it had happened. I was in shock. Like I was in awe, right? Cuz my view on God is that's a king, right? That's the
Mhm.
great warrior, right? Mighty God. So for me, because
Mhm.
I'm a soldier, that's how I best relate to God. And that is the distinct feeling I got from him. He showed up as a warrior, as a king, right? He didn't show up
Mm.
as like the Jesus you hear about in the Bible. He showed up as the dude that's gonna stomp you if you don't obey, right? So that's what it was. And I knew the intent behind him too. I knew when he said it's time to wake up, he didn't just mean physically it's time to wake up and go back to your body. He said it's time to wake up. It's like, okay, you've done all the stupid crap. Now it's time to wake
Mhm.
up. It's time to
So
be them. Yeah. I
you
knew
get
exactly
all
what he
of
meant.
that. So it was more than just wake up. Like there was a lot of like revelation in that from him.
There was a lot of intent all packed into just, hey, Timmy, it's time to wake up. And it's weird that he called me Timmy and not Tim
Oh.
because anybody who knows me more than 6 months or so calls me Timmy by default. It's a character thing. Even when I was in the Army, everybody called me Timmy. They didn't use my rank or anything. So it was interesting that he addressed me in a very familiar way.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Okay, so you wake up, you see your dad, you realize who was, next to you because you've seen that. Walk us through waking up and what's happening afterwards now. What is it like? You said there's dreams, so fill us in on that and what you're experiencing now.
Okay, so I was in and out of consciousness, but I wasn't going back into a coma. I was just sleeping. I was just sleeping on and off.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so there was the dream that sticks out the most. There was a couple, but the one that sticks out the most is I was in some Central Asian town, and I was hurt, and I was gimping around like I do today, like kind of a limp, and I was hurting. And this lady with a daughter took me into her house, and she just took care of me. She gave me tea and just let me stay in their room. And like you see on TV, they got, the Asian cultures have a lot of electronic gadgets. So I was like just checking out these gadgets. And then I met these two old guys playing that tile game. And they gave me a piece of paper. And I remember seeing the piece of paper, and there was 5 ingredients on me. And he said, you need to make this tea and drink it. It will help you heal. For the life of me, I cannot remember what was on that piece of paper. And then the rest of the dreams all had a young lady that appeared in every one of them. And that was a demon, I know now. And that was a specific demon that had followed me my whole life. And I don't know how I know that. The first dream I ran into her, I was on a cruise ship, and I was crippled up, bleeding. I'd open sides and stuff. And I was on a cruise ship, and because I was so hurt, they didn't put me in general population, so they kept me in the kitchen. So all day long in this dream, I would watch these people cook. And every day, when they were done cooking, the crew, the staff, led by this girl, would strip me down and mock me and laugh at me and pick on me. And then at night, when they got tired of messing with me, they would put me in this cooler with a dead body. And I knew who the dead body was. He was a rich guy that got attacked by a shark. So I'm in this cooler, and they put me under this guy, 1 level down into the side. So all I could do was look up at this guy. And he would just, every once in a while, and it was weird, he would breathe. And this dude was very dead. Without giving you too much detail about what he looked like, he was dead. And every day, every night, he would look at me and breathe. And that's the whole dream, was just that. Terrifying, right? And then every dream, it was that same girl that would show up in one form or another and mess with me the same way. And she would say the same things that I felt about myself. And then later on, I was talking to my dad about that, and he goes, that demon followed you around your whole life. And then he told me about how he had a dream that I was wrestling with this demon, and eventually she lost. I overcame it, right? Strangely enough, nowadays, I don't struggle with the same thing that demon brought to me. I don't struggle with that anymore. I don't talk like to myself like that, and I don't hate myself like I used to. So there's something there. I just don't know what to make of.
You mean you don't know what to make about the dreams that you had?
Because they were definitely dreams and not a spiritual, like I wasn't spiritually in hell. I was dreaming because it felt like a
Right.
dream. It felt like Twilight and not physically there.
So do you think it felt more like you were on this earth and it was like kind of in the spirit realm? Like maybe you were seeing a vision of like in the spirit realm a little bit more of like what was going on around you, like where we don't see it, but we know that there's a realm. We know that's where the demons are. That's where, there's so much battle going on wherever this realm is.
Well, I mean, it could, yeah, and I mean that could be the familiar spirit,
That's familiar spirit.
that continues to attack you and wants to kind of keep you bound and is giving you those dreams. But almost, do you not feel like that's a little bit of a revelation, though, that you can now overcome that? Like are awakened to.
What do you think, like the dreams? I mean, to me, I feel like that those are dreams coming from God, kind of showing you what's going on.
Yeah.
It's not Satan's obviously doing this, but it's like God showing you in this realm, like you have this spirit following you. Take control of it. Get rid of this thing.
Take your authority in
Yeah.
Christ, like who you are now. Yes. So you've had these dreams, but let me ask you then. So how long ago did you said that the year? What was the year that it happened?
August 2nd last year.
Okay, I apologize. Sorry
We're
about that.
coming up on a year from the crash, actually.
I know. Yeah.
So, how are you? Explain to me emotionally what, how has this changed your perspective on life, and like, how do you see God now?
Yeah, okay, so it's all still a little bit fresh. So emotionally,
Yes.
I'm still a wreck emotionally. Like,
Hmm.
if I'm being straight with you, I cry probably twice a day. Over
Okay.
whatever. You know what I mean? That part's not important. I just emotionally I'm a wreck. Mentally, I should probably see a therapist. But the same struggles I had prior to the wreck are gone. There's things that I was dealing with, you know, the self-harm and the desire to just be dead. Because it's crazy, because before the crash, not but a week before the crash, I was telling God, I'm sick of this. Just kill me already. I don't want to do
Wow.
it anymore. You know, it sucks. The
Wow.
first thing I said when I woke up, you know, thank God I'm alive, right? And I was talking about the colors as I was talking about the colors to everybody. Oh, that tree's so green, right? And my family that would visit me would bring me food when I was finally allowed to eat again. And I would like cry over grapes. And I got stuck on grapes so bad. I ate grapes every day for 3 months. I don't know why. And my dad said it has something to do with wine and covenant and Jesus or something like that. But I
Yeah.
have been absolutely stuck on grape. And everything was so fresh and so clean and so new after I woke up. Now that it's been almost a year, life feels like life again. You know, I feel, you know, all the
Hmm.
stresses are back. I'm back to work. All the normal things that are problems are still there. Life didn't stop. But that first couple of months, I was in absolute bliss about being alive, right? I was alive. I was happy. Everything tasted good. Everything was great. And every day for months, a Bible verse would pop up, whether it be on the TV or on my phone, or somebody would bring it up to me. Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the thoughts I have for you, saith the Lord, thoughts to prosper you and not bring you harm, plans to bring you an expected end. And that is my favorite Bible verse, because that just, for me, that describes God. That's the God that I have, is that his
Mm,
intent for me is not harm. Regardless of all the
yes.
crap, his intent for me is not harm.
There was two things I pulled away from what you were just saying there. One, though, I got to go back to when you were in the hospital bed and you said when you had woken up, you were thirsty.
Oh, so
And
thirsty.
so to me, that is Jesus is the living water. You're in a place now where there is no hope. You have no hope. And the thirst is there because you have no chance to get to that where you're quenching your thirst. Then you wake up and you said, you know, you're seeing colors even differently. It's because he's washed it all clean now. Like,
Clean.
it's like he's given you it's so cool.
Like, he's given you that hope again. You have a chance again to serve him. Yeah.
And you're seeing things differently because now you're truly with him. Like, it's just a whole new, it's like you said, like, you're still dealing with a lot of worldly problems and stuff.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and we're going to do that, but you're seeing things differently. Even those grapes are tasting differently.
Like, all the temptations are the same. I still struggle with all the same things as far as like, you
Hmm.
know, life stuff. I still get all the temptations, but there's something different about them. You know, like, they are less of a problem. And it's funny, you bring up being thirsty. When I woke up, I was so thirsty when they finally gave me water. I drank so much water that they thought I was going to die. I literally flushed all the sodium out of my system. I drank like a gallon of water the first day they let me get water. So bad that they limited me to 200 milliliters of water per day because I was killing myself drinking water.
Drinking water.
I was so
You
look,
really did want that living water.
I was so thirsty I couldn't take it. I couldn't handle it.
Wow. Actually, he went back to that, and there's another question that's in my mind. You had made the comment that, like, you were in the holding, I guess is what you
The
called
whole
it, the
Yeah, the
waiting
waiting room.
room. Okay. What was that, just some knowing that you knew that you weren't in actual hell? Like, what do you mean by the holding?
Yeah. I didn't know this, but while I was in my coma, I was on 19 machine. My body rejected oxygen. Blood was not flowing. I had 4 blood transfusions. My blood was not even my blood when I first woke up, right? I was in the most hopeless situation you could ever be in.
Wow. So and you said like the walls would all crumble and everything would like go away, or it would be like complete destruction. What do you
Yeah,
mean by that?
if my body would have died, my spirit wouldn't have no longer been connected to me. I would have been completely
Okay.
separated, so there would be no It would have been all bets are off for that guy.
So you were in holding because your body was still clinging to life. That
God
was the
was
difference
allowing me.
between death. Yes.
That's just another way God was protecting me. He wasn't letting my body die, even though I should have been dead 4 minutes after I hit that truck, because both of the
Wow.
arteries in my stomach had torn.
Wow. What do you think out of all this so far? What do you really feel like God was allowing? Why did he allow you to go through this? What do you really feel like he wanted to teach you? And I'm sure you're still learning. I'm sure there's
I
still
am
things.
absolutely trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
So after I was awake for a while, I was talking to because a couple of church people come to visit me, guy named
Hmm.
Ronnie, and he was like, "Hey, before I go, can I pray for you?" Right? And I was like, "Yeah, please do, man, because I'm afraid to sleep right now."
I was gonna say I'll never deny prayer again. I can
Yeah.
promise you that.
it was so bad that I was refusing pain medication so much that the nurses started drugging me because I was like, I don't want anything that's gonna make my mind feel weird. I don't want to pass out. I don't want to go back.
Makes
Hmm.
So
sense.
they're like, but you're in pain. I was like, I don't care. I don't want to go back there. I don't want to see that guy again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, he was praying over me and then he started speaking in tongues and he stopped and
Hmm.
he goes, "This is what the Spirit has to say to you." And I said, and he goes, "You were always mine. You were always going
Mm.
to be mine." And then that was basically all he said. And at the time I was like, "Ronnie, quit playing with me. This isn't funny." And the more I think about it, the more I'm like, well, if God wasn't saying that, I'd have still been in there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I think a lot of
Yes.
it was a lesson. It was a warning for me, but for me to come back and tell people, like, yo, that place is real and it's not fun. It's not like the hot rides want to talk about. We're gonna go to hell and party. It's not like that. You are
Yeah.
powerless there. There is no hope. There is no joy. There is no break. There is no mercy for you there at all. All the bad things exist there, and hell, that's where God doesn't go, right? That's a place where hell is separation from God, right? So,
Which is hell in itself, right?
right,
Because like you said, now there's no hope. There's nothing.
there's nothing. And
Ugh.
that is the biggest, actually, that's the big takeaway for me is that Jesus loves you so much, he'll go to a place that is so far below him and a place that he designed for him not to be just to come and get you.
Mm,
I must be worth something because Jesus went to a place that is so far below him just to come and get me.
mm. That is good right there. Do you treat people differently? Do
Yeah.
you feel less anger?
Yes. Actually, anger is not a problem. I mean, I feel it. I still contend with it. I'm still Timmy. I still have all
Mhm.
that past.
Yeah.
So it's, but I tell my son, self-control is everything for being a man, right?
Mhm.
So if God took all that away and my struggle went away because of it, I'm no longer being refined or sanctified, right? So
Mhm.
I still have to deal with all this stuff.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
it's self-control, discipline, right? Those things actually, apparently they matter.
Yeah. And he gave us the spirit of self-control. That was one of the things he gave us, love, power, and self-control.
And I know, like, I've read a couple books here recently about near-death experiences and stuff, and it feels like the people that had come back from heaven, especially, it was Jesus was always saying, "Go love people more, go love them more." Like, it wasn't prove me right in this area, tell people that this theology's right. It was go love people more. It's all about love, and like even in your instance here, like, if there's anger and hatred there obviously can't be love. But you're seeing that that's out of you now, so now the love's coming back through. And I think, like you said, you're going through these temptations, but it seems like the closer you get to Jesus, though, it's easier to let those temptations just go by.
It's
And
easier not
that's
to
just
give in, because back in the
given.
day, if you
Mhm.
said the wrong thing, I'd just smack you, and I have no desire to do that anymore. I still get my moments where I'm like, yo, if you keep pushing me, we might have a problem. But it's really it's so much easier for me to just be chill and I'll hug anybody, I'll talk to anybody. I'm an open book. So when people start talking about God, I tell them all about my failures and how God rescued me from that. So it
Is there
stuff
Oh,
has
go ahead.
changed.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're okay. I've changed dramatically, and the changes are consistently still happening. It's almost like while I'm recovering physically, I'm just I don't know, I'm growing new spiritual parts. Uh,
Hmm.
it's
Yes.
interesting. I know that God's not done putting me back together.
Yeah. I mean, because that's what we do. It tells us that we have to renew our mind.
Amen.
And I see that in you, like how you're speaking. I can tell that that renewing is happening. What is it that you're standing on? Obviously, there's God and the things he's done, but is there things that are building that foundation and helping you to kind of continue to change and renew your mind? Are there things that are helping you?
I just tell God where I'm at. You know what I mean? I get in my truck in the morning and I put on some
Hmm.
music and turn it down. And I'm like, God, life still sucks. If you don't help me get through all this nonsense, I'm going to keep failing, you know?
Yeah.
And the sooner everybody gets to the point where like, okay, so I'm bad at being a human. I am by default in a fallen place. If God doesn't baby walk and handhold me through this, I'm just gonna keep breaking things.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And sometimes you just gotta figure out that sometimes just don't do anything and let God fight your battles. Let God figure it out because He's not gonna screw it up when we definitely will.
Right. So I think that in the surrender, right? So you have to surrender because in surrender, there's freedom and surrender. And when you can truly humble yourself and say, God, I can't do this, take this, then
Oh
you can
yeah, I
walk in
tell
that
God
freedom.
every morning. I
Hmm.
tell God, look, if you don't help me through this, I'm gonna hit that telephone pole. I just cannot. I can't do life. I'm no good at this, right? So
Hmm.
I tell God, hey, look, you're gonna have to hold my hand. Tell me when I'm being stupid, and you just keep doing that. Uh, and take it seriously because God takes it seriously, and so does your enemy.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's good.
Because I
Hmm.
can tell you, the dude that was beating on me, he took that seriously.
Oof.
That is a
And
good quote
he
right
don't have to
there.
eat, he don't have to sleep. All he's got is time. Every day, all night, he thinks about how he's gonna get you, uh, or make you fail, or take you away from God. Right? That your enemy is relentless, and just you can't do anything about it unless you got God.
Mm. What would you say to someone though that thinks that they're too far gone or like, like you said, they have all these what they consider as these battles and it's not worth it or they don't believe or they're too far. Like what would you say to them that they can't
Okay,
be
so
forgiven? If they think they can't be forgiven, they've done too much in life.
like Paul, I feel like I'm the chief among sinners. Right? I've
Mhm.
lived in such a way that I've done all the bad things. And I've made all the wrong decisions. And if Jesus is willing to go to hell to pick me up, he's more than willing to forgive you too. Just throw all your problems at Jesus and just tell him he's God and that you want him and you're tired of failing on your own. He'll take anybody. He'll take anybody.
Yeah,
Think
that's
about
right.
the wedding. The bridegroom was sent out invites to all his friends and family, and they're
Yep.
all telling him, no,
Yeah.
they got
Mhm.
better things to do. So he says, basically, screw it, throw open the doors, go out to the
Mm-hmm.
highways, go get the rejects and the dummies and the
Mhm.
people who are always failing and the people who reject me, bring them in. And the only one
That's
that
right.
got rejected out of them was the one who didn't wear the wedding garments, right? The righteousness of Christ. That's the only one who got turned away.
Mhm. That's right. That's right. Just turn to him.
It's like the rejects will inherit the kingdom of God. That's the thing. Like, you don't have to be first on this earth. You don't have to be. You can be last.
You don't want all that business anyway. You don't want to be
No.
special.
No,
Yeah.
What's being a king matter? You know what I mean?
it
I'm
don't
That's
matter.
cool
right.
with struggling my way through life. I don't need more than that.
Yeah. But I even think, like, as the more you grow, you don't even have to struggle in life. Like, he wants you to be blessed and abundant and to show his love to others.
Well, look at Jeremiah 29:11. What's he tell
Yeah.
you to prosper in this
Yes.
life? So, it's like he didn't put you on this earth to only struggle. He put you on this earth to succeed, but you got to know what you're doing it for.
Yeah.
And I think that is where as humans we mess up because it's like, well, I got more money now, so now I'm getting up there and but it's not about that. How many people can you bring to the kingdom? How are you building the kingdom? What is your purpose in life? And it's like, well, I'm a truck driver. Is that my purpose in life? You know what?
Maybe.
It might be. And if it is, then God's going to put someone in my life when I stop somewhere that I got to show them the love of Christ.
Mhm.
So I don't know. This was a fantastic interview. I love this so much.
Timmy, let me say Timmy.
Timmy's fine.
What do you say to the people that you've told your story to and they're skeptics or you've been mocked?
I've been called a liar, mostly on Facebook, stuff like that. You know what I mean? But and look, I'm not gonna argue with you. I don't care that you believe me. But if you're gonna call me a liar, remember the Pharisees attributed Jesus's works to Satan, and it does that's really, he makes it clear that's bad juju, right? So maybe just pray for discernment instead of calling me a liar. Why would I want to make this up? What benefit do I get from making this up? Because I can assure you I'm not getting paid to say anything.
Yes. Do you feel like an obligation now to tell this story? Is that something that's on your heart to continue to tell your story? Yeah.
I'd be a fool if I didn't share that.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, and see, Tim, that is what actually, I don't remember who it was that you had made a comment. It was about another, it's like this, it was like, I think a former OnlyFans, and she went to hell, and like an elephant kept charging her or something.
Yeah, made out of razor blades or something.
Yeah, and so you had made a comment. All you said was like, I've been to hell. And the hate that you received, I couldn't even believe it on Facebook, but there was something that I'm like, I gotta know. I gotta know what this is about. I don't know. Like, I felt like looking at those comments, I could see the hate that you were getting. But again, what are you benefiting from this?
Yeah, I didn't get any benefit or gain from saying that comment, and I don't get anything out of telling people about it other than I'm gonna embarrass myself because I kind of sound like a dork sometimes. You know what I mean? Like it's the only thing I can get out of the whole thing. But
what I think you're gonna get is that you're doing His work, and that if you turn someone's heart to Christ, that's a huge benefit.
Hey, look,
even if it's just one.
Yeah. If I can share my story and it literally scares the daylights of somebody and they're running into Jesus, that's so worth it. That's so worth it.
That's right.
That's it.
Because I don't want anybody to go to that place. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. And I didn't even get the full experience, right? Because we already talked about like what I experienced was that while I was there was tame in comparison to what was gonna happen.
Thank God.
And it's like
Thank God.
Right. You knew what was going to happen. And honestly,
I think that if some of those other things would have happened, I don't think I would have been functional mentally now.
Wow.
I would have been mentally broken. I would have been useless for the kingdom if a lot of that would have happened, because it was so bad that thinking of it's bad. I mean, the worst scary movies you've seen don't cover some of what he was thinking.
Wow.
Yeah. And
wow.
Well, I wanted to touch on something because somebody told me once, God's going to heal your body, right? And I got all these huge scars and I'm sore all the time and cold and hot bothers me, right? And I started getting offended. I started getting upset with them. Like, what are you saying? Like, even if God wants to heal me, which he could, absolutely. But I don't want to walk out the other side of this life. Like, I just had a life, right? Like I just lived a normal life and just walked through. When I go out the other side and I get to heaven, I want to be gimpy and crippled and crawling and barely making it, because the win after that is so much better, right? I don't need any gratification out of this life. The win is at the end when it's over, when God says, well done. And until then, I don't even need any compliments. I don't do it for a good job. And people get mad at me for saying that. You think God won't do it? I said, no. I think he absolutely could. And I think he's more than willing to. But my story is less somehow if he does. Somehow. If he heals my body and I'm back to normal Timmy where I could run 10 miles, where's the fun in that? I'm going to talk about God regardless of how physically broken I am. And I think that's the win. That's the warrior's heart. And I think that's what God wants us to be. He don't really want the cowards to, you know what I mean? Like, he don't want you to be scared. He don't want you to be a chicken and go out there and get it. Go fight the war.
Yeah. Go fight the good fight.
Well, and
Yeah.
it's a serious war too, because again,
It
these
is a
are
war.
people, you're keeping people from going to that place, and you only seen a small, very, very small sample size of it. And look what it's
Yeah.
done for you.
Because I looked into some other people's hell experiences, and some of them are horrifying, like way worse than I experienced, for sure. Like, for sure. And that's brutal. That's a brutal place, man. And I would suggest everybody just get it together and run the guy already. Quit playing games.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's good.
You know, this is kind of circling back. I got one more question for you. Did you see anybody else there? It was only you in a room by yourself.
Not a single another human being. I didn't see one.
That's what I wondered.
It was me and the fallen angel.
Wow.
And then Jesus at the very end of
Do you think that everybody where you, like you just said, that you'd listen to people who had other experiences as well? Was their experiences like worse? I have not looked into this. Like, are there experiences like you said, like it was everything that you've done to yourself or your sin that you did, you got like their worse?
Yeah, basically. And there was people that were like dying, and then they woke up in a hospital, and this nurse came in and was like, "Hey, follow me. We gotta go right now. We gotta go right now." And then he follows the nurse down the hallway, and suddenly the hallway dark, and the nurse turns around and jumps on him and tears him up because the nurse is actually a demon. And then he gets drug off into some dark room, and whatever the demons want to do, they do.
Man.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a book called 23 Minutes in Hell.
Well, I've heard of that actually. I think, yeah.
Really good book. It'll scare the daylights out of you, though. It's very intense. I got lucky, I would say, as far as like,
Yeah.
I got some extra mercy for some reason.
I actually read a book a long time ago. It was Revelations of Hell. She also had Revelations of Prayer, and I can't think of the thing of it. And it scared the bejesus off of me. Like I wanted everybody to read it because it gave me like a perspective. Like she talked about smells and the constant agony, and God gave her that revelation. Like she experienced it. Did you have the smells and stuff there? Was there smells?
It smelled like rot. It smelled, I don't know. I work on landfills, right? And the smell was like dead and rot and decay. That was basically sums it up. Landfill on a summer day, basically. And the smells was the least of my concerns, though, honestly.
Yeah.
Everything else sucked worse.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, Tim, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for coming on. What's your TikTok handle? We'll let people know what your TikTok handle is here.
Right now it's no one. Noone.
And okay, Tim, we're gonna just cut for 1 second here. I'm gonna just do a quick closeout, and then I'm gonna hit stop. I just gotta make sure to upload. So if you could just hang on with us, and then we can chat a little bit here at the end too.
Question closing now.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna ask you one question to close this out.
Sorry, people. Missy decided just to take over here.
I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, Timmy, I got one thing. Look, I'm calling you Timmy now. To close this out, one thing from what you just spoke, one thing that you feel like is so pertinent that you need to let people know before we close out of here, give it to them.
Oh, go to God exactly like you are. Broken, rotten, dripping with tar, all the wicked things. Go to him just like that. He doesn't want you to get your life together and then come see him, right? He don't care about that. He just come home. Just like the prodigal son, the king, he just wanted his son to come home. That's all that matters. That's all God cares about. Come home. And time's running short, so come home quickly.
Yes. He'll take care of the other stuff. He'll help you overcome the other stuff.
He'll knock the other stuff down, and him and you will work it out together and become what he wants you to be.
I get the vision of the tar, of the sin.
I do. I see it.
I can see it. But then I see that is what the scripture talks about, washing you clean.
Yes.
And
have you ever seen the movie Constantine? With Keanu Reeves, way back in the day, right? Well, at the end of the movie, he runs into Satan. and Satan comes into the movie from above, or he descends to the room. And while he's descending, you get like a close-up of his feet, and it's tar, and it's dripping off his feet. And it's exactly the same thing.
Wow. Very, very. You've been great. This has been a really cool conversation. It really makes you think, and it really opens your heart up to just being so thankful for God's mercy. So run to him today, just like he said, just like Tim
Absolutely.
And we're very thankful for you, Tim. Missy, am I allowed to close out now?
said. Go ahead.
Okay, we're going to close out now. So, Tim, again, thank you for coming on, and we will see you guys later.
See ya.